In all of us, there's good and there's evil. There's not one person who does just good deeds without having a bad side of him. Even if it's 100 good things, there's always one bad thing. And this is just our nature as beings. We are born with flaws, but to each path, there's a moment of clarity, a moment where you realize what is going on. For the longest time in Dragon Ball, each character had that path, had that moment of clarity. Look at Vegeta, he was evil, then changed and became pure-hearted. Look at Beerus, he had that moment of clarity at the end of the fight against Goku. At that moment he realized the other side of everything, the other side of him. We all stumble upon those moments, but time treats them differently. And time in Dragon Ball hasn't always been kind. The Saiyans were born a fighting species, those who are controlled by their instincts and their will to fight. They were never pure-hearted, they were far from that. They took planets and lives. The exception was Goku to that, where he was one of the first Saiyans that changed the pattern of his people. And he proved to us that a Saiyan can become pure-hearted. But what if that path and that destiny didn't come to life? What if he followed in the footsteps of his people, the footsteps of the Saiyans, and became much worse than them? And not just that, what if he took the life of the one who helped him, the one who shaped him to be Goku, not Kakarot? This is the story of a time that destiny didn't come to life, where it surrendered for the harsh reality. And Goku was never born. Kakarot was the one on Earth. And this part of the story continues after the first part of another video. I will leave the link to it in the description. But to cut the story short, Goku, when he came to Earth, he was evil in the first timeline that we've known. But he hit his head, and that's how he became pure-hearted. And this is canon from Dragon Ball Z until Dragon Ball Broly. But nonetheless, in the last story we've seen a Goku who has never changed. A Goku who stayed evil, and we've seen how Grandpa Gohan found him and raised him and tried to make him a better man. Someone who will protect the world. But his attempts failed. And Goku transformed to his ape form and took the life of Grandpa Gohan and then went on to the rest of the earth. That's when our story was cut short. And now the story will continue. A cruel twist of fate brought with it the end of the earth. But is that truly you, Goku? For years, the beast has been destroying villages. The whole country lives in fear. You see a poster with Ozoro Goku on it. He went on rampages, took the lives of millions or thousands of people. And this reminds me of Attack on Titan. He's a titan in some sort. Nonetheless, as we see the footprint of the ape form, we see the shadow of Master Roshi. That's a terrible sight. The beast doesn't try to eat or nest. It actually wants to kill all humans. Its acts are not random. He's right. A Saiyan who's sent to another planet, our newborn, his mission is to wipe out the planet for the Saiyans. And this is what Goku is doing now. As we see with him, a young Krillin was crying. He can't believe what's going on. Who does this? Who did that? As they spot a pig, he was eaten by Goku, but the villagers weren't. The beast eats when it's hungry, but it has a mission to take the lives of all humans. Master Roshi has figured all of this out. He figured that someone brought the beast, or the beast is controlled by someone. His attacks are not random. He knows what's happening. He's not just a beast. As Master Roshi turns around, the creature didn't finish the job this time. Those houses aren't destroyed. He tells Krillin to go into the woods and search for survivors, while he stays here. And thus, Krillin goes to search for anyone who's alive. Be careful, Krillin. Our enemy is no mere beast. It's a fierce, trained killer. A beast who time and life weren't kind to him. was raised to become like this. As we see how Goku was raised from the start. He was raised to become this way. It's not his fault and it's never was. It's not something that he wants, but something that he was born to do. Something that since he was young was taught. I can't blame him and I will never blame him. So, where are you, Goku? Krillin in the woods finds Goku. He doesn't know who this kid is. He wakes him up and asks if he's fine. He doesn't know that Goku is the beast. He asks him if he's from the village. The first thing that Goku says, human? As Krillin turns around, he says, we should go back to Master Roshi. Goku sees him and thinks that he's a turtle with a thing on his back. But he still thinks that he's a human, so he asks him, are you a turtle? He says. Krillin responds with, yes, I am proud member of that turtle school. Because of that, Goku decides not to fight him as he walks away from him. But Krillin feels sorry for him. Poor boy, all his relatives were killed. He must be in shock. He must have run all night. Yeah, he ran, but not like what Krillin thinks. He ran on this village. Because of that, he says that there's a river. They should rest. He will take him there to wash himself and rest. Kakarot still thinks that he's a turtle with what he says, that his kind loves water. He's not just evil, he's dumb. As they go to the river, Goku jumps in the water. He's smiling. He's still a kid who was taught to be evil, but in the inside he's still good. There's always good in the evil, like I said, and I know that side of him is still there. Krillin then jumps in with him. He starts thinking to himself, he really doesn't look human. Plus humans live in packs. He was alone. As Krillin splashes him with water and they start having fun, Goku chases him and they're just kids having fun. As they finish, he gives him his clothes. And this is how their friendship began. In the city, Master Roshi sees and inspects what happened. He sees the bodies laying on the ground. He spots footsteps that went to the woods. His life wasn't taken by the beast, it was taken by a man who controls the beast. Goku says, hey, turtle, why are you so kind? He tells him, why? It's normal to help you. You've been alone. Call me Krillin. Goku thinks to himself, yeah, I have been alone. So he just smiles at him and says, we are friends, right? He doesn't know what friends is, as though the voices in his head start talking to him. He's just a turtle, just an animal. He's a human, take his life. But he doesn't want to, he doesn't want that. He had so much fun with him. If he takes his life, he will be all alone again. And he doesn't want that. We see that Goku is different. He doesn't want to be alone. Krillin asks him, and what's your name? Kakarot. They're going back to the village to meet Master Roshi. They call for him as Master Roshi gets in front of Goku and says, poor boy, tell me what happened here. He looks at him and says, you look like a human, turtle. He tells him, of course, I am a human. As then Goku punches him on his face without hesitation and then goes in with a kick at Master Roshi. Krillin doesn't know what's going on. Why is he doing that? Goku's still going at Master Roshi with a punch after the other as he kicks him away. The strength of this boy is huge, but Goku is still angry because his mission is to take the human lives. It was a full moon this night. Is it possible that he calls for him? Oh boy, do you know about this? He's grabbing the tail of Goku. He figured all of this out. But Goku loses his mind as he throws dirt at the face of Roshi and then gets on top of him and starts punching him over and over. Krillin goes in and grabs Kakarot. He tells him to stop, but as Master Roshi is bleeding, he says, stay away, Krillin. It's a new kind of werewolf. Well, he figured half of it out. He breaks free from Krillin, but then, without hesitation, Master Roshi kicks him on his stomach. Goku doesn't give up. He launches himself back at him with a punch that Master Roshi blocks. Then he kicks him, knocking him to a wall behind him. But in that split of a second, he is behind him as Master Roshi knocks out Goku for good. He just looks at him and says, Poor boy, he was transformed into a monster, and it even shows when there's no full moon. He knows that it's not his fault. Krillin feels bad for him. He thought that they could be friends. He won't wake up for a while. It's our duty to help him. We will save him and give him peace. He wants to help him, he wants to save him. And that's who Master Roshi is. But will that work out? As Goku wakes up, they don't have any time. Kakarot runs away as fast as he can. He starts climbing the trees and making a run for it. Master Roshi and Krillin follow him, they can't lose him. As he finds a cave and enters, he knows that it's a trap, so he tells Krillin to stay here. He will go in. He can't see anything. There is not even a hint of light. From behind him, Goku smiles and jumps at him. Master Roshi dodges his attack. He hits his head on the wall behind him and damages himself badly as they start fighting the cave, and it's heard from the outside. Krillin is worried. Master, he calls for him with no use. Then we hear a voice, Kamehameha, as the Kamehameha goes out of the cave. What's going on? Oh, one time wasn't so kind for the Earthlings. Goku walks away from the cave, dragging the body of Master Roshi. Master Roshi is gone. Goodbye, Turtle. Goodbye forever. Krillin starts crying and he screams. He doesn't believe it. He tells Goku he wanted to save you. He wanted you to have peace. But the Saiyan just says, I have to kill all humans. One day I will take your life too. As he walks away from him. He didn't take his life now, but he could have. That's the good side in him that's lost. That's not him who's talking. He stops and looks behind him with a sad face. He doesn't want this. He wanted to have fun. He wanted someone to be kind for him. But the way he was raised and the way that they programmed him and manipulated his mind made him like this. It's not your fault, Kakarot. It's not your fault. Grandpa Gohan knows that, and I hope that Krillin will know it too. Krillin is still crying. He thinks now that Goku is cold-blooded. He will stop him. He will save Earth, will take his life and save all humans for Master Roshi and for everyone else. That's not the path. Goku doesn't want this and Krillin doesn't want this, but time wasn't kind for them and fate didn't work out the way that they wanted. And this was the story of a time that Goku lost everything, a time when Master Roshi lost his life because of Goku. Funny how sometimes fate, instead of giving us what we want, breaks us into pieces. Sometimes we're put in situations that we don't want, but we can't do anything about it. And that's fine. Along the way, someone will come who will show us what we have been missing all along. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Much love, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.